Hey everybody, Mac here, and we are going to work on multiplying binomials, or what's more affectionately referred to as the FOIL. F-O-I-L. And this stands for first, outer, inner, and last. Okay, so I'm going to explain exactly what this means. I have three versions of these. They're all very similar, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go kind of the long way in version A, sorry. But if you go to version B, I'm going to show you all a shortcut that I think you're all going to really like. But it's always better to know the long way first so you get what's going on, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut that I think you guys will use a lot, and I know that I use it to this day, okay? So just as a reminder, before we do anything else, there's more to algebra here in maxtutorials.com. We're in the factoring section right now, and this isn't factoring, this is just multiplying. But why am I doing this? Because factoring, we're going to eventually do what I'm doing right now, but we're going to do it backwards, okay? And when we do that, if you understand how to go forwards, you'll understand going backwards. So let's just talk about what that means first. So first, out, inner, last, FOIL, first. These would be the first in the binomials. A binomial means the parenthesis with two things in it. These are the first, right? What would the outers be? Boom, boom. Those would be the outies. What would the innies be? Well, the innies would be this and this. And then last, what's last? That and that. Notice how I'm including the signs in there. Okay, so watch how I do this. First, that becomes, let me expand this, x squared, outies, positive 5 times x is plus 5x, innies, positive 3 times x is plus 3x, and my last, positive 3 times positive 5 becomes a positive 15. And if you notice, there'll be a little thing there in the middle. We add them together, and I get x squared plus 8x plus 15, and that, my friends, is our answer when we multiply them together. So when you're foiling, what you're really trying to do is everybody multiplies with everybody. Okay, so it's kind of like a double distributive. I take the x and I distribute it to both, and then I take the 3 and I distribute it to both, and then I just add up all my like terms. So let's just keep going with this, okay? Yeah, we'll go across, why not? Okay, then really be careful for the negative signs as well. So right here I get x times x, which is x squared, x times positive 2, which is positive 2x, negative 4 times x, which is negative 4x, and negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8. Now look what I have in here. X squared, remember that's always like add a line, change a sign. So it's going to become a negative 2x and a minus 8. Okay? Let's keep going. In fact, I think I'll show you the shortcut after a few of these. Let's do a few more long ones. Outer, negative 1x. I'm going to write the 1 here. I don't need to, but I'm going to. And then I have a plus 7x. And lastly, I have a minus 7. When I put these together, x squared plus 6x minus 7. Okay? I always have those middle terms to add together. Ooh, negative, negative. That should be fun. First, where was I going with that? X squared. Now the outers, which is negative 3x. Inners, which is negative 6x, and the outies, negative 6 times negative 3, that's going to be a positive 18. And now look what I have in there. Boom, add a line, change a sign. And I'm going to get x squared minus 9x plus 18. Let me do 2 more, and then I'll start showing you the shortcuts, okay? So here we go. Boom, 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 x squared, do my outies, plus 4x, do my innies plus 8x, and do my last, which is going to be plus 32. Get my middles, x squared plus 12x plus 32. One more here. Okay, so now let's go outies, which gives me my x squared. Let's go first, sorry, let me show you that again, my fault. First, outer plus 9x, inners, negative 5x, last, which negative 5 times a positive 9. Do say the signs, please. That's a negative 45. Add a line, change a sign, and I'm going to get, I got these guys in the middle, x squared plus 4x minus 45. Now, you may have noticed some patterns in here. Here's what I want you to see. Let's just take a look at the last, because we know, look at the last number. Okay, negative 45. Well, that's negative 5 times positive 9. Look at number 4, positive 18. That's negative 6 times negative 3. Take a look at the third here. It's negative 4 times positive 2 is a negative 8. I get the third number all the time by just multiplying the numbers. And if you notice, they all start with an x squared, right? So they'll all start with an x squared, and then if you multiply the numbers, you get the third term. What about this middle term? Do you notice how we get the middle term? Well, this is 12. Well, look at this. What's 8 plus 4? 12. Look at this one up here, number 3, okay? What's positive 7 and a negative 1 when you add them? A positive 6. How about a positive 3 and a positive 5? You get a positive 8. How about number 2, a negative 4 and a positive 2? You get a negative 2. How about number 4? What's a negative 3 plus a negative 6 plus a negative 3? Negative 9. How about number 6? What's a negative 5 and a positive 9? It's a positive 4. So now watch this step. Now that you know how we do the FOIL, and it's good to know because when they're not set up with the x plus 7 or something like that, if it's like 3x plus 7 or 2x squared minus 5x, you need to know the FOIL. So it's important you know all the steps. But let me show you the shortcut here. It's going to start with x squared. Let's multiply for the third. What's 2 times the negative 7? A negative 14. What's positive 2 plus negative 7? That's going to be a negative 5, and that's an x. Look at number x. It's going to be, sorry about that. I'm going to get an x squared, and I'm going to get an x, and I'm going to get a number. Let's add them together. What's a negative 8 plus negative 2? That's a negative 10. Multiply them together. What do you get? You get a positive 36. Boom. Done. You can go that quick. Here's a shortcut. X squared. Again, x plus something, x minus something is the only time you're going to use this. X squared, x, and a blank. Add them, positive 7. Multiply them, positive 6. How about this one? X squared, x. Add them, negative 6. Multiply them, negative 27. It's that easy. And now when we factor it, knowing this little shortcut is going to really help when we do the factoring method, okay? So now again, add the numbers, I get a plus 5. Multiply the numbers, I get a negative 50. Let's go to number 12. X squared, x in the middle. Add the numbers. Well, what's negative 1 plus a negative 12? That's a negative 13. Now what happens when I multiply them? I get a positive 12. Now notice this. If the signs are the same, if they're both negative, or if they're, if they're both positive, number 9, your third term is always going to be positive. If your signs are different, your third term is always going to be negative. Just something to note, okay? Here we go, number 13, x squared, x, add them, plus 13, multiply them, plus 22. Number 14, x squared, x, add them, negative 1. Do I have to write the 1? No, I don't, so I'm not going to write them. And I'm going to get a negative 42 right there, okay? If you write nothing in front of the x, it's like you write a 1. But in your answer key, or when you do this like for multiple choice, you're never going to write that 1. It's going to show up in multiple choices, nothing in front of the x. Because if nothing's in front of an x, it's a 1. Let's keep going. X squared, add them up, negative 6. Multiply, negative 40. Okay, number 16. Add the numbers. What do you get? Negative 15. Multiply them. You get a positive 44. Negative 11 times a negative 4. Let's go on to number 17. Okay, we're going to add them. Positive 17. Now we're going to multiply them. Positive 60. 18. Okay. We're going to add them. Positive 5. We're going to multiply them. Negative 24. And then let's go number 19. We're going to add them. Positive 3. We're going to multiply them. Negative 54. And number 20, we're going to add them, which is going to be a negative 15. And then we're going to multiply them, which is a positive, because they're both negative, 26. Okay? And that, my friends, is version A. I hope you find these, now that you know a little trick to them, nice and easy. But I do need to make sure that you understand the FOIL, because when they're not set up like this, you are going to need to do the foiling. And we'll see that also on the next versions B and C as well. All right, good job, guys. Let's go on to B. Don't skip through. Let's also see B, and let's see the other ones as well. All right, I'll see you there, guys.